Hey, seventh graders. All right, here you go. This is today, Wednesday's math lesson. All righty. Get my stuff here. Okay, so we're skipping 9.7, direct variation. And why? Why? Because I'm having to teach this way and not in the classroom. And I'm having to do some skipping around, okay? If we have time at the end of the year and we're back in our classroom, then I can go back over it. But based on state requirements, I have to pick and choose which would be the most important and let go of the other. Keep in mind this is pre-algebra. So if you don't get it this year, you'll get it next year. Direct variation is only discussed this much in pre-algebra, algebra 1, and even algebra 2. The stuff that we've been doing in this chapter with slope and graphing and what we're doing today, it's this much in pre-algebra and algebra, okay? So if you weigh the two, you can see that everything else weighs a lot more than the direct variation. So anyway, moving right along so we can cut this short if possible. We are doing the last section before your test, and it's graphing linear inequalities in the plane. Okay, in the plane, blah, 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 blah. You don't need to worry about that. But we're still graphing linear problems and equations and everything, just like what you've been doing. And some of y'all are kind of shaky on it. I can tell when I'm grading your stuff. Part of it's because I'm not assigning as much homework for y'all to do, so you don't get that repetition, which is not good. We're also not in the classroom, and I'm not walking around circling and all that stuff. Hey, that's the perfect place to be, but we can't. I really need you guys to do the IXL. Even if I didn't assign it, you need to go on there and you need to do those links. Seriously. I hope your parents are listening to this because they need to hear me say that you really, really need to do those. Okay. Inequalities. Today's not going to be inequality. I just realized I misspelled inequalities. Some of y'all already noticed and are laughing. Okay. Sorry. Anyway, this, if you're catching on to the other stuff, then this stuff's not going to be that bad. Inequalities. When I say inequality, you're supposed to know what that means. And what that's referring to is less than, greater than, less than or equal to, or greater than and equal to. Okay? That's what inequality means, this right here. All right, but what it is a shaded graph may be used to indicate all of the numbers that would make an inequality true. Meaning the shaded part are all the numbers that could work. In fact, I'll put that. Numbers, let's see, wait. I'll put all numbers that could work in the equation. There, I added that from last year's stuff. Okay, and I'll explain all that. One thing you got to remember, this is very important, is why there's a star there. In fact, I'll put 2 stars. A dashed line will be used. You know how we've been graphing lines? You've been drawing lines all over the place? Well, this time we're going to be either drawing a dashed line or a solid line. A dashed line will be used if there's a greater than or less than, it will look like this. Okay? A solid line will be greater than or equal to or less than or equal to, and it will look like exactly what you've been doing, just a regular solid line. You can remember that by this right here. See how there's a solid line underneath there? It means equal to, but still that's your hint that it's going to be solid. Okay? Now I will tell you, even when I'm grading these things, I forget to look for dashed or solid. So you're going to have to really, make sure you remember, but just know that you'll forget like I do. I don't count it completely wrong or anything. I may take like a point off, okay? You have to know how to do this, but I'm more interested in knowing that you know how to solve an equation and actually graph it and know where to shade it, okay? So if you need to get this right, but if you actually forget, I'm not going to take much off, like 1, maybe 2 points at the most, okay? All right, so let's get started. An example. Y is less than 5x plus 4. Okay? Now, I'm going to graph this on graph paper because some of you are still struggling with actually graphing these. I'm thinking y'all haven't started. Some of y'all haven't started on your IXL. Keep in mind your IXL is due Monday, but you really need to be doing it now because it's really good practice. All right, so notice that this takes the place of an equal sign. You've been doing them with the equals. Well, now you just have a less than, an inequality sign, okay? So, the first thing you look at is, look at the sign. Is this going to be a dashed or solid line? Is this symbol right here going to give you a dashed or solid line? Well, if you look up here, it's going to look like this. So that gives you a dashed line. All right, so I'd like to know, what is the slope? The slope is 5. Just 5, not 5x. Okay? That's going to be your M. All right, the y-intercept. That's your 4. Going to be your B. Okay? I actually have an IXL link on my proto page for this section. You should do it. All right, so now on the other page, I'm going to graph. I'm going to write see other page. That's my hint for later on. Okay. Okay, the formula or the equation was this. And I said that the slope was 5 and the y-intercept is 4. Now, when we have a solid number like 5, remember we want to put a 1 underneath it because of the rise over run. Some of you even asked me that today, so take a good look. The slope is 5, but we're putting it over 1 because it's rise over run. What is the first thing I graph on this Cartesian plane? The 4. The y-intercept goes first. 1, 2, 3, 4. See how each line is a different number. It's positive 4 for the y-intercept. This is my y, this is my x, so I have it there. My slope is 5 over 1. I can go 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh man, I've run out of space. So you know what else you can do? Negative 5 over negative 1. Some of you were giving me answers like that, and I told you to put it in positive, but really, and that would be the correct answer, but you can also do it like this. Watch this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1. Now, if I were to graph it, if I had drawn this correctly, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 over 1, it would be right there, right at the top. Okay? Now, remember, because of this, it's dashed. So I'm going to connect my dots. I don't know why I'm doing this in red. Oh well. There we go. Now, here's the other thing. Notice that this is less than. Less than means shade below. It's less than, so shade below. See how this slope is? Let's put my pen on top of that. Here's one side and here's one side, another side. Which side would be considered below the pen? Up here or down here? That's right, this would be below. So you're going to shade below. That's it. I mean, truly, that's it. Okay, so you may want to pause this and look back over it. So what's important here? 2 stars. If it's less than or less than and equal to, shade below the line. If it's greater than or greater than and equal to, shade above. A line. Okay, so if this was greater than, if this sign was going the other direction, you would shade on this side. Okay? All right. All right, we're going to start doing examples because I think that's going to be the best way to do it. So go ahead and open up your books to page 385. So look at number 2. It says determine whether the line on the graph of the solution should be dashed or solid. So number 2 is y is greater than 5x. Okay, so look back at the video if you can't remember, but because it does not have the line underneath there, it's going to be dashed if you were to graph it. Okay? Number 4, y is greater than or equal to 2 over 5x minus 8. Okay, here we have that solid line there, so then the line on your graph is going to be solid. So if it doesn't have the line underneath it, it's dashed. If it has the line underneath it, it's solid. All right. (7x minus 2y is less than 12). You don't have to do any rearranging or anything for this. All they want to know is, based on this, is it a solid or dashed line when you graph it, or if you were to graph it. Based on that, it's going to be dashed. Look at the difference. Dashed, dashed, solid. 5x plus y is less than or equal to 4. Okay. Based on this one, it's solid. Okay? Hopefully that helps you understand when you do a dashed line, when you do a solid line. Okay, we're going to skip down to 20. And I'm doing C paper. We're going to do it right here. Okay, so the equation is y is less than or equal to negative 1 over 5x plus 2. It says graph the solutions to the following inequalities. Okay, so the first question, is this in that y equals mx plus b format? Remember, this is what we did yesterday. Y equals mx plus b format. Is this in that format? Now, granted, this is an equal sign and that's an inequality. It doesn't matter. Okay, we're just treating them as the same right now. So we look at it. Yes, that's y, and the slope is here first, and then the b. So yes, it is in the correct format. So yes. All right, so now, first question. Is it a solid or dashed line? That should be your first thing. It is solid. It's going to be a solid line right there. Okay? The next thing I want to know, what is the slope? What is your m? Right there. Negative 1 over 5. Right there is your slope. It's your m. I'll even put a little m right here. Okay, the next thing I want to know, what is your y-intercept? Right there. It's 2. That's your b. The last thing for inequalities I want to know is, are you going to shade below or above? So you look back right here. It's less than. Since it's less than, you will shade below. Think of less and below. Okay? Now let's graph. All right. Whoops, you can't see it. Remember, you must plot your y-intercept first, and it's 2. So it's going to go right there. Now you look at your slope. That's a -1, it's a -1, and a +5. That negative is not the whole fraction because we're really dealing with slopes, not even really a fraction. And guys, don't put these in mixed numbers. If this number on top is bigger, it's okay because it's rise over run. So that minus is with that 1. That's a +5. So I'm going to go down 1 because it's negative, but that 5 is positive. So instead of going left, I'm going to go right because it's positive. Down 1 because it's negative, and then +5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now remember, it's a solid line. Okay, solid line. Now, shade below. I'm shading below. There you go. That's how to do that. All right. If you need to rewind this part, pause and rewind, you may. Okay? All right. So let's do some more. I'm going to do 22. Is y is less than negative 3x plus 2. Is this in y equals mx plus b format? Yes, it is. Y mx plus b format. So you're good to go. You don't have to rearrange it. Okay, remember what we asked. Is it solid or dashed? Is it going to be a solid or dashed line? Because of that, it's going to be dashed. Let's continue. Is it going to be shade below or above? That's less than. So therefore, it's below. All right, slope. Slope. It's negative 3. Now, boys and girls, because you have to do rise over run, you need to turn it into negative 3 over 1 because of rise over run. Okay? And then your y-intercept. That would be 2. All right. If you're like, wait, what? I don't understand all this. You rewind it and pause after each step and look at it, okay? Okay. So I'm going to draw my graph. And your graphs need to start looking like this. So far, I've seen amazing graphs. You are doing really good using the graph paper and straight lines and everything. I've been very proud of those, okay? All right, so first thing that we plot is our y-intercept. Don't forget, it's the first thing that we plot. That's at 2 on the y-axis. 1, 2. Okay, then we do the slope. And the top number, the rise is negative 3, so we're going to go down 3. But that 1 is positive, so we're going to go towards the, whoops, my head went the other direction. We're going to go to the right because it's positive. So down 3, 1, 2, 3, and then that 1 is positive, so I'm going to go to the right, not left, but to the right. Some of y'all are having problems with that on the homework. It is a dashed line. Okay, now we shade below. Put your pencil like right there and think which is below the pencil and which is above. Is this below or is this below? This is below. So we're shading below. Okay? All right. Number 26. All right, this one's going to be a little weird. 6x minus 2y is greater than 12. All right, is that in y equals mx plus b format? No. So we need to change it into that format. Some of you, I have heard from a couple people, y'all were like, hey, how do I do this? I can't remember. And I kept saying, go back and look at the video. Now watch this. We have to move this 6x over there on the other side of this inequality because notice it's over there. This is a positive 6x. To move it, we have to subtract it. That's the opposite. This cancels out. I'm left with negative 2y is greater than, this comes first, negative 6x plus 12. I'm not combining them because you can't combine a number with a variable this way. You guys were correct when y'all texted me about that. Good job. All right, now we have to get the y all by itself. So I'm dividing every term by negative 2. Why am I dividing? Because this negative 2 is being multiplied with the y, and we have to do the opposite. That cancels out. Oh, I forgot. Remember when we did inequalities? It just hit me. If we divide by a negative, what happens to the inequality? We've done this year, but y'all might have forgotten. That's right. This sign is going to flip. Ooh, be careful with that. So this would be y is less than. Negative divided by negative is a positive. 6 divided by 2 is 3x. Positive divided by negative is a negative. 12 divided by 2 is negative 6. Okay, so I'm going to put a big old star right there because of this right here. When you divide by a negative, flip the inequality. Actually divide or multiply. Okay? There's your thing. Alright, so question. Is that going to be dashed? Is the line going to be dashed or solid? It's going to be dashed. Are we shading below or above? That's less than, again, so we shade below because it's less. What is the slope? It's 3. But we want to make it to 3 over 1 for that rise over run. Y-intercept, negative 6. Okay, over here to the right, I'm going to graph it. Okay, so what's the first thing I graph? Negative 6. Right here. Let me circle it a little bit. There you go. So negative 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Negative 6 on the y-axis. Ignore that spot there. It's from the other side of the paper. My pen is terrible. All right, the slope is a positive 3 over 1. Positive. That means I'm going to go up 3. 1, 2, 3, and over 1 because it's positive. It's a dashed line. We shade below. Well, here's my line. You decide which is above and below. Sorry, my phone is blowing up with y'all's homework. So we shade that direction. Okay? I have one more to do. $28. Okay, there's another one we need to rearrange. X minus 3y is less than or equal to 9. Okay, is this in y equals mx plus b format? Excuse me. Nope. No, it's not. Okay, so we've got to change it because we got to get that x over there. Boys and girls, that is a positive x. To move it across that inequality, it's just like an equal sign. You have to do the opposite. So I'm going to subtract x on both sides. So they cancel out. I'm left with negative 3y less than or equal to negative x plus 9. That x has to come before that number there. All right, I got to get rid of that negative 3 there because y's got to be all by itself. Since they are being multiplied, the opposite is division. I have to divide each term by this negative 3. Now, that cancels out, but I divided by a negative. So we're going to flip that sign. Remember, divided by negative, so flip sign. Okay? So I'm left with y is greater than or equal to. Now, notice there's not a number here. What do we pretend is there if we don't have a number? We pretend there's a 1 there. And a negative divided by negative is a positive. So it would be 1 over 3x. Now look at what I did there. There's not a 1 there. There's not a number there. So we pretend there's a 1 there. And a negative divided by negative is a positive. Now right here, a positive divided by a negative is a negative. So that's going to be negative 3. All right, there's our equation. Is it going to be solid or dashed? See that? It's going to be a solid line. Are we shading above or below? This time we're going to shade above because it's greater than. Because it's greater, we're going to shade above. Now your slope, it's 1 over 3. Your y-intercept, negative 3. Okay? Now I'm going to graph. Last one of the day. All right. First thing you graph is this right here, negative 3. 1, 2, 3, because it's negative. Slope is 1 over 3. Both are positive, so I'm going to go up 1, see up 1, and then over 3. It's a solid line. And we're shading above. Clearly you know which is above. There you go. Okay? All right, so I'm going to go ahead and assign some work for you. And you can get done. All right, first of all, before I do that, you have a test Monday. Your IXL is due Monday. I strongly suggest you get it done now. I can tell by some of y'all's papers you haven't even started IXL. I get it. But you really should do this, okay? And do the inequality one also. Any of them that I didn't assign except for that direct variation thing or whatever. Don't worry about that. All right, so you're going to be doing page 385 to 386. Just page 385. And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 8, 9, 10. Okay, so you're going to do numbers 1 through 7 odd, and then 21 through 31 odd. I believe that's 10 problems. I think you can handle 10 problems. It is going to be due Thursday. Okay? Due Thursday. All right, guys. If you have any questions, let me know. Please, though, don't just look at the problems and then start bugging me. I don't understand. You need to utilize these videos, because I would do nothing different. We would go over it step by step, just like this video. I know they're boring. I get it. They're not fun to make either. But you need to go over these. Rewind, do it again. Okay? All right. Talk to y'all later. See you tomorrow. Bye.